Hey, it is the weekly essentials. Welcome, willing, minded wellness. It is today, and you can hear my dogs. They're so excited about it. They get excited about this call, and we have not been on for a couple of weeks, but you know what? We are back, and we are getting ready to roll out into the finished 2024, go into 2025. And I am so ready to put this year behind me. Although I'm excited as I've looked back this year to see how far I have come in even 6 months. And this call is probably one of the most important, effective things I have put in because it holds me accountable for things I'm doing in my life. And so I'm excited to talk a little bit more about that as the new year rolls in. But man, the holidays, we made it through with no drama. And Kirsten was fabulous in her cooking. Your layouts and everything was amazing.
I was laughing because as we did Italian for Christmas, and as I was doing it, I was kind of like I was gonna make like the copycat salad I was making a copycat Olive Garden salad, and I was like, this is better than Olive Garden. I was like impressing myself. So I told everybody, if you don't like it, don't say anything because I think I hit it out of the ballpark. So yeah,
The whole thing hit it out of the ballpark. I mean,
it's
she had lasagna, she had meatballs, Italian sausage, white sauce, red sauce, bread. I mean, it was an amazing layout and we had lots of fun. And I think that this was one of the best Christmases I've had in quite a while, considering I don't even remember last Christmas due to what I was going through. And this just kind of really hit it out of the ballpark. And I just really wanted to publicly just say, you rock. You're awesome. And I'm
thanks.
so proud to call you sister.
Well, that's good. That's funny. I like it. I had a good time, although it's tough being the chef because you know that all your work is going to end up in the toilet in about 24 hours. So, it's like all that work and what are we doing? So I'm like, let's really enjoy it while we're eating it. And then one time I said that to your son because he was like, why don't you cook for us more or something like, because everything ends up in the toilet. He goes, well, I'll just sit and enjoy it. I was like, good, dude. Enjoy it both ways.
Yeah. Hey, stop it. My dog. What did he say? Because
He'll
all of
sit
it was,
he'll sit on the toilet and enjoy it. So enjoy it both ways.
that's funny.
Yeah, so
Oh my goodness.
that's funny stuff.
Well, it is it is good, and I am ready for the new year, 2025. I mean, I was sitting here and I was watching some things that have to do with what's going to happen in 2025. I'm not talking just in personal lives, but what's happening with the earth and what's happening in the spiritual realm and the quantum journey that we're
Yeah.
on. And 2025 is huge. Do you
Yeah,
have
we have
anything
some
to say
really
about that?
yeah, we have some really exciting things to discuss as we go forward. I have a couple of things to talk about after the first year, relating to the quantum. But I don't want to tip my hat or my hand. I won't tip my hand too much. But I do want to say there are some really good things coming for everybody, for the earth, for humanity. And I'm excited because we've had a lot of rough years. The 2020s have been really rough. And so there's some exciting stuff. There probably are still political things, some political unrest and things that are can be scary, but I think that when you understand that there's a larger picture and it's not just about what's happening in Washington D.C. or Russia or the Ukraine, like there's bigger things that are happening, and we can look to those things and find encouragement and hope, and most importantly, love and joy and peace. So it was a good holiday season for us. I told you earlier that I wanted to talk about something as we kind of is our last call of the year, and so without being too dramatic about it, I was thinking about a speech that I heard Snoop Dogg give when he was getting his star on the Walk of Fame.
Snoop, Snoop, Snoop.
Snoop Dogg. It was like I think 2018, something like that. I can't remember. It was a while ago. And for me, Snoop is the picture of audacious living. I mean, Snoop is just Snoop. Like it don't matter. He don't really care what anybody thinks, and he's gonna be who he is. And I just I'm not saying he's a role model for everybody, but when it comes to kind of shamelessly being yourself, he does that well. And on that in that speech, he had done a lot of thinking of a lot of people. So I don't want to take away from how much he had acknowledged how other people had really shaped his career and really helped him be the star that he is. But at the kind of towards the end of the speech, he said, "I want to thank me. I want to thank me for getting up every morning. I want to thank me for never quitting. I want to thank me for always doing the things that nobody else would do." And I think there's some audacity to that, to say that publicly. Like, I want to thank me. Yesterday, when we were getting ready to pray for our meal, our family meal, your son was going to pray, and I said, "Hey, I want to make a request. Can we when we pray? Can we bless the hands that prepared it?" And your son laughed at me. He's like,
That's
"Oh,
so important.
well," and I'm like going, I want to be blessed for all that hard work. And I don't, that wasn't an egotistical thing. I mean, that was a lot of freaking work. And so not that I'm seeking thanks, but to be able to look at yourself and go, that was awesome and I'm awesome and I'm glad everybody enjoyed it. So Snoop says in this thing, I want to thank me. And that speech, especially that part of the speech, went viral because we all feel that. We feel like we have to hide ourselves and not have good ego strength to say, "Hey, I did that. I'm the one that did that. You're honoring me, and I'm also going to honor me."
You're giving me chills. I've got chills from the back of my head all the way down my back. I'm telling you, that is what has gotten me through the last 6 months, and I've done the work.
Yeah,
It's not that
exactly.
anybody else has done the work. I put my best foot forward to do what I could do. And I've never taken credit for the work I've done. I've always, oh, well, somebody else. And no, you taught me, Kirsten. You taught
Yeah.
me. Be proud of what you've done. Stop
Yes.
saying it was so and so who did
Well, and
raise
we're
your
not.
kids.
Yeah, we're not. We're
Or
not. We're not saying that other people didn't do things, but they did not do your work. You did your work, and I think that's the part. And we can say thank you to everybody else, but at the end of the day, it's the work that we do, and we can take pride, a healthy sort of pride in what we did. That whole Snoop Dogg um speech, I don't know whether it spurred a Megan Trainor song. And I don't know if you followed Megan Trainor's career or not, but she's more and more gone from kind of the shy um I sing for a living to more and more like, "Hey, this is me, look at me." It's all about the bass, and big butts are good too. And
right, right, right.
well, she has a song called "I Want to Thank Me," and it's all about how I'm gonna tell myself thank you for looking like this, for doing my work, for working my ass off. She says, I gotta be my own bestie. Yes, there's so many I'd like to think along the way, but I gotta thank me for working my ass off. Can't do it like me, y'all wish, because you can't. I mean, Megan Trailer's fantastic. Trainer, I said trailer. Trainer is fantastic. There's one line in this song that I want to see if I can find it because it really hit home. I'm talking about that one of one, doing what they say can't be done. I ain't hating on myself no more. That's dumb. Can't happen. No, it can't happen. And I'd like to take a second to remind me I'm sexy. Gotta be my own bestie when the world tries to test me. Yes, there's so many I'd like to think along the way, but I gotta thank me. And so that just kind of resonates, I think, with so much of how much we're told we can't pay attention to ourselves, but we have to. We have to be our own best friends, our own cheerleaders, and make sure that we're telling ourselves the truth about ourselves and letting the truth about ourselves come out.
I like that. I like that a lot. Ending this year, there's a lot of things for me that are coming to an end, and it's not just it's like my journey, my book of life, and the way that I've understood it is ending this year. Okay, everything. I'm actually going to be changing my last name going into the new year back to my maiden name, because one of the things I've been working on is my identity and who I am. And I'm going into 2025, I get to, when I'm thinking myself, I want to know who it is I'm thinking. Okay. And it's my authentic self, who I am. I wish I could choose my last name, but Kirsten told me I couldn't choose my last name, that I have
Well,
to choose one I already had.
I don't know that you can't choose your last name. Pardon me for saying that. I couldn't choose it in a divorce. I had to go back and choose one of the names I previously had. I
I
don't know.
think when I was reading up on it, it said the same thing. So I'm going back to the name I was given at birth, my last name at birth. So, and then with that, the journey of what got me here is just, I'm starting a whole, it's like everything's closing and I'm starting a whole new book. It's like one book is getting put away, is going to be on the shelf, and I can pick it up and look at the memories and whatnot, but it's on a shelf now. And I'm kind of excited about that, you know? And I I think that kind of goes along with what you were talking about is, when you do the work, you got to be excited to go to the next place, the next level, what's next for me. It doesn't stop just because you reached one place. And I'm excited to see what's going to roll out this next year. Listen, I could be ending this year with a lot of anxiety because my job's coming to an end, you know. I don't know where that's going to take me, but I'm actually excited. I did a job interview for a dream job. Listen, I keep speaking that one into existence. I'm manifesting that one. I'm like, okay, that's my job. I'm going to have that job. They're going to call me for the second interview. They wouldn't want anyone but me because I am all that and then some. And I know that I had an awesome interview. So I just keep saying it over and over again. So I would not, by the time I come on next week, I may have that job and you'll hear all about it. But I think that that's what's important. If you have enough confidence in yourself, you can almost call out exactly what it is you want and it will happen.
And if you understand manifestation, that is exactly how it works. To be the thing that you want, to live that, to speak it, it's already achieved in your experience. That's how manifestation works.
Yeah. So that is exactly, I mean, I know that like I hung up the phone. I'm like, that's my job. Like, that's my job. And so I'm just excited. I was like, I should apply why should I apply to jobs today when I know I already have a job? Some people would be like, well, that's foolish. I'm like, today I didn't apply to any jobs because I know that that's my job.
Well, and you've already applied to hundreds of jobs. So don't say you got that job and you don't have hundreds of applications out there already. So maybe it would be foolish if that was the only job you applied for. I mean, I would be careful to not, you've applied for a lot of jobs and had good interviews too, but this is the one you want.
It's fine. Listen, this is I don't know what I was going to say. I just drew a blank. I've been doing that a lot today. Sorry.
That's all right. Can we shift? Is it okay if we shift?
Yeah, shift.
I do want to talk about, a lot of people in a new year make resolutions and things like that. And I'm not against that. That's never been something that worked for me or fit my personality very well. And a number of years ago, I started learning about choosing the word of the year. And I think that maybe one of the things I can do over the next day or so is put up a blog post or put up a post about how to go about choosing a word for the year if people are interested in it. Excuse me for itching my nose. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. Anyway, choosing a word for the year is, I do it kind of prayerfully. It's very mindful for me. I go inside and kind of seek myself and think about who I am and kind of how I want my next year to be kind of memorialized. Like it kind of shapes how I think about things. And I've had a lot of different words over the years. I did not do a word of the year last year. But had I, it would probably be like explosive or something like that. And I probably didn't want to put that word up for the year, but I posted a meme on Facebook earlier today, and it was an explosion. It said, burning sage for 2024, clearing 2024. Anyway,
Right?
so I think that there's something valuable about really sitting mindfully with yourself and saying, how, if you had a choice to how to define the next year, what one word would you choose to define it? And finding that word. And that's what I plan to do over the next few days, is sit quietly with myself and the universe, God, source, however you want to define that, and say how if I'm going to partner with in as a co-creator in this next year, how do I want my experience to go, and how do I want it to be defined?
Let me ask you a question. I've done a lot of those personality questionnaires for multiple jobs, and they're the ones that you have to choose the words that match, like choose the words for who you are, and then the next one was choose the words that you were on your job.
Sure.
Okay. And one of them in there is risk adverse.
Oh,
can you describe that?
To be risk adverse would be to I think it would mean that you don't take risks, or you don't easily take risks. It's a challenge. It's difficult for somebody to take risks. I am not risk adverse at all. I take risks all the time. In fact, I'm probably the opposite of risk adverse. I'm probably sometimes foolish in taking risks, or others might think that. I don't think I am, but others might think I'm foolish in taking risks. And I like the adventure of it all.
I think audacity mode is getting rid of being risk adverse.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a very good, I don't know that everybody who has not been able to connect with their true selves, their authenticity, is necessarily, but they haven't been able to take risks. There's a lot of reasons why we stay stuck in the ideas of what other people think of us. But I think that being risk adverse is one of the major reasons why they stay stuck.
So choosing a word, and you think of that word risk, okay, why is it such a negative word when really it's not a risk, it's just being authentic?
Yeah.
It's being true.
Yourself. Well, because here's what I say. I think that there are risks in being yourself. Even when we were talking about Snoop, right? People are judged by who they are. And if we're really tied to if our power and our validity and who we are, how we want to accomplish what we want to accomplish in the world is tied to what other people say about us, then it's a risk to act ourselves. Because if I'm not acting like people want me to act, then I might lose those relationships. And if I'm not my own bestie, I might be very lonely in this place of not being able to, have the feedback that I want to have. I'm insecure, let's say it that way. But if you're secure and you're like, I can take somebody resisting and not agreeing with my point of view, or not believing the same way I believe, or having a different experience of me, I think that's a big deal. Is like, I can let somebody be wrong about me. Like, it's okay that they see me differently, and that's not who or how I am. And I don't need to correct them or make them understand who I am. That's all right for them to feel that way. Even somebody close to us, like, okay, if they want to be stuck in their version of me, that's okay. Let them be stuck. So risk is often just, it feels scary to do the thing that I want or need to do in order to get what I want or need.
Okay. I'm just asking that question because, I think many people who are going through the jump or the leap into what's going to be called a new quantum, I guess, if we talk about it in quantum, and People aren't going to understand that, but I think it's our decisions that take us where we go. And no decision is a decision. Okay, I learned that a long time ago. If I'm not making a decision, if I'm making a decision to do nothing, I made a decision.
Yeah, but no decision is final. No decision is final. We can always change our minds or go in a different direction or tweak our decision. No decision is final.
If you don't like the direction that your decision is taking you, make a new decision. Yet, I have had conversations, or even with myself, do I need to make a new decision, or do I need to pay attention to what I'm being taught with the decision I made? Because sometimes the decisions make us uncomfortable, but it's in that being uncomfortable where change happens.
Yep.
And so I think as you begin to do things differently, you then begin to identify what works for you. Okay. But I was having a conversation with one of our kids today, or maybe it was last night, and they were talking about comfort. You know, when we stay in our little box and we're comfortable, then we're not going anywhere. You know, we're just there. It's almost like an existence. You get up in the morning and you go to bed at night and you do the same thing all day because, you know, it's comfortable. It's when you take that 1% and go, I'm going to do something different 1% today, that you then, it doesn't have to be something great big. It just be one tiny little change. And I've been doing that over the course of the last 6 months. And here is what I accomplished in one day this week. Okay. I don't hold the title baker at all. Okay. I've never called myself a baker. I've never called myself a cook. I know how to cook and I know how to bake. How it turns out, that ain't on me. Well, it is on me, but you know, what I'm trying to say is I spent the day Friday, I would say, and I baked a cake in the morning and I let it sit and I got creative. I had to do some baking for a dessert that was for Saturday, and I had Oreo cookies that I was going to take apart because I was making an Oreo. Listen, girl, I was making from scratch. Okay. The cake was out of a box. The dessert for Saturday was going to be like from scratch. Okay. And this is I know how to read a recipe. I mean, my mom and my sister are cooks. I've been around it my whole life. Whether I do it or not's another subject. Okay. Now I was making what are they called? They were called red velvet.
It was like a cheesecake. Red velvet
cheesecake something. And there's a lot of steps. And so I decided to take the cream from the Oreo cookies and turn it into the middle that went between the two tiers of the cake. Okay.
Yeah, you're doing two separate desserts, cake, and because you need Oreo cookies for the crust of your cheesecake, right? So
I didn't want to throw away the cream because it's so good. And you couldn't dip it in. I mean, you couldn't dip it in milk; it would just deteriorate in your hands.
And I would let you lick it off.
So I decided to put it between the cake. Okay, so Kirsten told me how to make that happen. And it worked. It got between the cake, but I will put a picture up of this cake. Okay, I will put a picture up. All I will say is, the cake tasted great. The way it looked was a whole nother story. If you were going by its looks, you would never ate it. But it could have won a contest by its flavor. Okay. That's all I'm saying, because it was really good. It tasted like Oreo cookie, and it didn't even have any Oreo cookie in it. It just had the little cream. So it was really good. But the dessert that I worked so hard.
Pause for just a minute, because here's the truth. Really, all that is about is practice. Making it look beautiful is about practice. If it tasted good, then it was good. The rest of it's about practice. So
it was crumbling from the beginning. Okay. And
And the other dessert also
and I
tasted
followed the
good.
directions on the box.
Yeah, the other dessert also tasted good. It's just that their directions, because we had 3 different desserts and 2 of them got made, and both of them, the directions were very poor directions. So that also is not your fault. You know what I'm saying? It
But
tasted
what
delicious.
I stepped out of my comfort zone and I spent all day in the kitchen. And so that deserves a round of applause right there. Okay? Because Tiffany is not a baker. All right? I can bake. But you know, at the end of the day, I'm telling the story. I had people come up to me and go, that cake is so good. Well, that was from a 6-year-old, but I took it.
And 6-year-olds tell
Okay.
the truth. 6-year-olds tell the truth.
And
That 6-year-old.
the dessert was half gone that I brought home. So
Right.
listen, obviously I did something right. As I told you, I can read a recipe.
Well, and
And
the
I
focus
didn't.
of it is you can do something right. It's about practice. And so even though it was painful and it didn't turn out exactly the way you wanted, first attempts at things often don't. And so, but as we come to the end of our call, I think it's important to realize that if we're going to start something new, if we're going to do something new, if we're going to try to adjust our perspectives or do anything at all that's different, we're going to run into some obstacles. And it's okay to have obstacles. Obstacles might make us adjust. That may be exactly what we're doing is adjusting. Obstacles may tell us that that's not really the direction we're supposed to go. And sometimes we have to run into that wall a few times before we're like, oh, that's not my direction. Obstacles might just say, hey, if timing is wrong. Or obstacles, maybe that's not for you. There's all kinds of reasons that you're having obstacles. And just assuming that it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to doesn't mean that it wasn't good or right or whatever other adjective. I hate using good and right. I hate those adjectives because I don't think that they really apply. But if it didn't turn out the way you expected, or you do something and you start down a road and it's not going the way you expect, it's not wrong to pause and adjust.
Well, all I can say is I could have thrown the cake away. I didn't. I actually took pictures of it. I was proud of it. I'm like, I accomplished. I forgot to take pictures of my desserts though, but I did accomplish what I set out to do, and I was proud of it. And at the end of the day, I was like, dang, I have a whole great mixer that someone gave me. Is very professional, and I used it for the first time. Listen, we're at the end of our call. I just wanted to say that 1% changes that I've been making, I accomplished an entire day on Friday. Okay. And I think that that's what it's not about doing something great all at one time. I had to work to get to where I was. And then it was exhausting. So what Kirsten does all day long for 2 or 3 days to do a whole meal. Listen, kudos, girl, kudos.
That's my workout.
Listen, we love you guys. We hope that you have a great new year. We'll see you in the new year. And do you have anything for closing other than bye?
Love y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye.